Hello, Tom, once again for another Man in Gray book review. Today's book is Poems New and Selected by Ron Rash, published in 2016 by Echo Press. It's 192 pages. Ron Rash is a novelist, short story writer, and poet who grew up in North Carolina in the 1960s and 70s. He's probably best known for his short story collection, The Night the New Jesus Fell to Earth, which is a collection of mostly humorous short stories about life in a small southern town in the 1980s and early 90s. And he's also known for his novel Serena, which is set during the Great Depression in North Carolina. It's about a young married couple who try to go into the timber business and kind of become timber tycoons. Serena was made into a film, adapted into a movie starring Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper. But for my money, Ron Rash is one of the finest living poets in America. His poems, I think, are quite powerful. He grew up, as I said, in the rural South in the 1960s and 70s, kind of about the same time I was growing up in Texas. And so maybe that's why I relate to them so well, but they're really evocative poems. Almost all of his poetry is about life in the rural South, North Carolina, South Carolina, during this time period. I'm going to read a couple of these poems to you and kind of give you some of the flavor and explain why I like them so much. This book is a collection. It brings together excerpts from his first 4 poetry collections and then some uncollected poems. So it's a really good kind of broad anthology of Ron Rash's poetical work. So I'm going to read you a poem from his first poetry collection. This is a poem called The Search. What hope we had died by afternoon. We should have given up, gone home to eat, left her in the woods. November frost would keep her well enough till morning came. The dead have all the time in the world. Besides, she wasn't our kin. She wasn't even white. Her and her old man moved up here 12 years ago. We didn't know from where. They never told us. They kept to themselves, farming a hollow far up Painter Creek, the only colored we had ever known. Though there'd been times when we helped each other out, racing rain to get hay in a loft, finding a cow, building a barn or a shed, the things all farmers do to get along. So he'd come to us when she wandered off just like she'd done before, except before he'd always found her, usually at the creek or standing in the fields still as a scarecrow. So she got so old she was lost inside her mind and wasn't going to get home by herself. So we left our wives, our after-supper fire. We didn't find her either that first night. Our lanterns lighted up the mountainside. Our voices hoarsened. Just her name replied. At dawn, most left, went home to sleep or work. 4 of us decided to stay on. We took Ezekiel, that was his name, back to the cabin. The women fixed a meal. He wanted to go, but would only slow us down, so left behind, his face cupped in his hands, while we searched until the sun was just a hint behind Whiteside Mountain as we climbed up Wild Hog Ridge, the one place left to look. We buttoned up our coats and lit the wicks, swore we'd only search another hour, swore that several times before we found her, back against a tree like she'd been waiting. A harvest moon broke through the patch of clouds. We raised her in its light and lantern light, and looked into a face the frost had burned as white as dogwood blossoms in the spring. A soft breeze stirred the leaves and then lay down the way a weary hound settles to sleep. It was so quiet, no one seemed to breathe. Josh Burton held her first, cradled her against his chest, stumbled down the ridge. We all took our turn. The women did the rest, bathed and dressed her, staying through the night. We left to get some sleep, not saying much, thinking of cows to milk, horses to feed. We'd done all we could. We got her home. Okay, so that was a poem called The Search. And I'm going to read a shorter poem now. This is one of his later poems. It's called The Country Singer Explains Her Muse. The Country Singer Explains Her Muse. Say you're on a bus between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Pills that got you through the show, slow to wear off. So you stare out the window, searching for darkened houses where you know women sleep who live a life you once lived. Now sing about. Let them dream as you write out words and chords to find a song made to get them through their day. Get you through a sleepless night somewhere on a bus between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. Okay, So that was, let me get the title right. The Country Singer Explains Her Muse. Country Singer Explains Her Muse. So those are two poems by Ron Rash from this really wonderful collection of poems done over about a 20-year period. So if you haven't read Ron Rash's fiction, his novels or his short stories, I would recommend Serena and the Night the New Jesus Fell to Earth. But if you like poetry and you're interested in contemporary poetry, be sure to read some of Ron Rash's poems. They're very accessible, and if you're a Southerner or you come from a farm background like I did, you'll really relate to a lot of these. And even if you don't, I think you'll appreciate the real beauty of his and gift he has for imagery and language. The book is Poems New and Selected. The author is Ron Rash. This has been another Man in Gray Book Review. Thanks for watching.